Hey you, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Alexa, what is the CIA's version of DARPA?
From speedguide.net. DARPA's various successes for the military over the decades since have inspired the CIA and U.S. intelligence agencies to start up their own version of the famous bureau, calling it the Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Agency, IARPA.
I always get so excited when I learn a new acronym.
IARPA. So apparently they've been working on this for over a year. It's called Smart E-Pants. So it sounds like Smarty Pants.
Oh, wow, that's smart.
E-Pants stands for Electrically Powered and Network Textile System. But if you guys want to look it up, this technology, it's called AST, Active Smart Textile. These clothing, they figured out how to make a scrunchable conductive fabric. So they have batteries that are woven into clothes. They have capacitors, transistors all woven into clothing. And they say you cannot even tell that it's in there. It feels like a piece of clothing that you normally would wear. But what happens when they make a deal with Nike? Or they make a deal with Abercrombie Fitch, or, you want your new
Jordans.
Yeah. And it's in there, bruh. Now they want you to know. We don't have to have your phones. You just have to wear clothes. Well, you're going to walk around naked?
Well, I planned on it.
So pretty soon, I believe you guys are going to see this out there on the market. And we already talked about it with the RAND Corporation, the Internet of Bodies. And one of the things the RAND Corporation was propagating was a smart clothing. And you already have wearable sensors with a smart watch. But nobody is thinking that their clothes is spying on them. But it is. It's coming. And as you're walking around connecting to the LoRa Amazon network, they're transmitting this information back to the government. If they wanted to convert this into CBDCs, like digital currency, you're like, well, I'm not going to have a phone. You don't need a phone, because if your clothing is basically your wallet, you really could just walk in a store and walk out because your clothing is the wallet.
Great. Now we got to worry about our clothing watching us. That kind of just triggered something in my brain. You know how there's like this Wish and this Shein or whatever it is, and what is the other one? Temu, and you can buy these clothes from overseas and they're super duper cheap? I wonder if that's already happening. And they're like following us, and they're like collecting data on what it is that Americans are doing. Ooh, that's evil. Huh.
Health check now this noon. A big change could soon be coming to an everyday healthcare item. Cutting-edge technology is coming to wound care in the form of so-called smart bandages. Researchers are developing these bandages filled with tiny sensors which can detect how a wound is healing. Some smart bandages will even allow doctors to remotely dispense treatment.
The doctor can give a little zap of electricity that can help promote healing. The doctor can open a tiny little valve in the bandage to release some kind of an ointment or a cream.
Many smart bandages have shown promising results in lab tests, but they are still years from hitting the market. One bandage is being tested in humans. That test alone is expected to take 18 months, and then it would need approval from the FDA.
All right. So I actually saw this a few weeks ago, and I have been just waiting for something to come up on TikTok so I can put it through here. I know I should probably use other platforms. I'm getting there. But that thing, this technology is also going to be taking readings of like your temperature, your heartbeat, and all this other fun stuff to determine what needs to happen on this wound. So it's sending this information to your doctor. Don't you think that can be intercepted? There's a lot of HIPAA stuff going on there, unless you're like it's only for treatments in the hospital, so the doctor doesn't have to come and see you because they're already seeing 5,000 other patients because the American healthcare system sucks. I don't know. But you're sending your information, whatever it's gathering off of your wound, to the doctor, so the doctor can go like beep bobble beep and then drop some freaking ointment on there or whatever it needs to do. So yeah, technology.
This perhaps is going to be the biggest question in 21st century economics and politics. What to do with billions of useless humans? Thank you. Now we see the creation of a new massive class of useless people. As computers become better and better in more and more fields, there is a distinct possibility that computers will outperform us in most tasks and will make humans redundant. And then the big political and economic question of the 21st century will be, what do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
Do you have an answer in the book?
At present, the best guess we have is keep them happy with drugs and computer games. But this doesn't sound like a very appealing future.
So this pretty prominent figure has just announced, well, not just, but they have announced that there is a class of humans that are classified as useless. Okay? So this figurehead has labeled some humans as useless. And as we progress and robots start taking over our jobs and we start having more and more of these useless humans, and then AI progresses, it has recognized that this top figure in the world has decided that there are a group of humans that are useless. See where I'm going here?
All right, friends, you're not going to want to miss this one. So I've been seeing a lot about smart cities, and I decided to do a little digging myself. According to the World Economics Forum's website, 36 cities over 22 countries are participating in these smart cities, but many more is to come. So what is a smart city? A smart city stands for Surveillance Monitoring Analysis Reporting Technology. Basically, a digital ID will be given to every resident that will track in real time all of their daily movements, their activities, their spending habits, even their carbon footprint. They will be given 15-minute travel times to complete their daily activities unless they have a permit. And if they exceed those 15 minutes, they can be denied access to their spending and their activities that they need to do for the day. So of course you're like, I'm not going to move to one of those cities, right? Well, here's the thing. Because of the laws governing the Agenda 2030 land development, the government can actually seize polluted lands and force their residents to move. So if the government deems the land and water around you polluted, they can force you to move from your homes to these cities. So all of these train derailments, food processing plant fires, and other ecological disasters that are happening, they're beginning to make a lot more sense now.
So all they got to do is just like deem your property as, not okay. Here, go over here. Oh, we'll relocate you over to this city. And it's one of their little smart cities. Speaking of all these food manufacturing plants and processing places going up, another chicken farm just went up yesterday. It just caught on fire. So it's like the food is being, slowly taken away from us, just like we talked about. Not only the food, they just deem your property inappropriate and you go over there. This whole 2030 initiative, I think I have something in here that's going to talk about it. So just, hang tight. It's a doozy. It really is.
So if you guys haven't been paying attention, did you hear about what's going on in Idaho with all the potatoes and everything? And did you hear about the culling of all the chickens? Because they say that they had bird flu. And apparently the test that they're using is one of the most unreliable ones that can be taken. And they're using that as proof of the bird flu. And they are literally going to be killing, millions of chickens. That bothers me on so many levels. We're not going to get into some right now, but what is going on? They're stopping the water supply so that they can't grow the crops. Even though there's nothing wrong with the water supply there. There's documented proof of it. Like there's literal video evidence of the water supply being fine. And they're stopping them from doing it. If you don't see the blatant corruption going on, Bill Gates buying up all the land, they're trying to stop actual private farmers from doing their job. Two and two makes four people. Are we going to act blind to it? Or are we going to actually start, working together and doing something?
It is time. We got to do something about it. It's really interesting. how Idaho's just like, no, turn off the water. And the chicken farm that went up yesterday, and these chickens that are being tested with this unreliable test, and if one chicken just tests positive, the rest of them have to go. Gotta go. That's it. So they're getting rid of poultry and pretty much any produce that's coming out of Idaho. And yeah, he did mention Bill Gates. We're going to talk about that soon. But for now, there is definitely something going on. They're trying to depopulate. I feel like they're trying to depopulate.
Agenda 21 is kind of a code name for a master plan originated at the United Nations to change the political and economic system of the world to one of total collectivism. And in order to do that, people must not be allowed to have independence. They must be dependent on the state for everything. Otherwise, they won't be easily controlled by the state. That means they can't have private property, mostly. They cannot have land of their own. They have to live in preferably high-rise apartments that are provided to them by the state as a benefit, so to speak. Oh, good, we got a free apartment. But these people at the top want all humans to be dependent on the largesse of the state. That means that they don't want anybody living out in the boonies. Anybody that's got a couple of acres of land and his own water supply and can grow his own food and that kind of thing, or have some sheep or some chickens, these people are a threat to the collectivist society because they aren't going to go to the politicians and say, please feed me, please clothe me, please give me shelter. They tend to be independent. That's the secret behind Agenda 21. They want people out of the country. They want corporations out there growing all the food and that kind of thing, but they don't want anybody living out there because that way they cannot be controlled. In order to control mankind, we have to get them all into the big cities. We have to rack them up and stack them up, get them dependent on the state for their food, their shelter, their electrical power, their water, everything. That's the dirty secret behind Agenda 21.
And that just solidified what I thought up yesterday. I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of it, but that's the first time that those had like made connections inside of this brain. So yeah, that's like brand new news to me. But it's the generational depopulation, you know? Take away the food now, and then people will be less inclined to have children because it's too expensive to even keep yourself alive, let alone keep other people alive. And it's actually working already, because there are a lot of young people like in their 20s that are like not interested in having children at all. So, you know, there it is right there. All right, here's a little bit of a beautiful mind breakdown of Agenda 2030.
Agenda 21 was a code name for a master plan that was originated by the United Nations to change the political and economic systems of the world to one of total collectivism. In order for this to work, people must not be allowed to have independence. They must be dependent on the state for everything, otherwise they would not be easily controlled by the state. This means the general public can't have private property mostly. They can't have land of their own. They have to live in high-rise apartments, preferably, that are provided by the state as a benefit, so to speak, free living spaces for everyone. The goal is to keep people out of nature from living out and about, because anyone who can provide for themselves and have gardens and farms, or even chicken and sheep, they would be considered a threat because they're independent. They only want corporations out there growing all the food and not the general public. The states want us to be in big cities, smart growth cities, compact cities, metropolitan areas, not in nature, so that they can control our water, our food, and our electric power. Leonardo da Vinci, by the way, he said, if you find out from your own experience that something is a fact and it contradicts what some authority has written down, then you must abandon the authority and base your reasoning on your own findings. 5D not 5G is a good hashtag. 17 Sustainable Development Goals all need to be achieved by all nations by the end of 2030. All households everywhere will have access to clean water, sustainable energy, health, sanitation, education, and basic nutrition. Companies across all countries will provide jobs for all. They will invest in sustainable societies and environments. Cities everywhere will be safe, resilient, and inclusive, provide decent housing and jobs for all, move to carbon neutrality and preserve oceans, and create biodiversity laws. They're gonna fix everything for us when all we have to do is just go vegan, live by the higher ethics and higher mannerisms where we don't destroy nature like our ancestors. They didn't have cars that pollute the skies and TVs. So now we're dealing with what our government gave us. It's a problem. Now we're reacting. Now they're going to give us a solution, which is worse. The UN has approved. The UN has appointed sustainable development advocates or famous celebrities for this agenda to work and persuade people. Our homes need an improved analyzing of our energy use in food and water waste, carbon and water footprint. All we have to do is eat less meat and processed foods. Elon Musk said that AI, artificial intelligence, is a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization, and that all future production of vehicles will be electric. Robots will take over the transportation industry, and commuting of products will be fully autonomous, which means electric cars. Even the big semi-trucks that go around are going to be electric. So no more gas stations. 10 years from now, there will be no gas stations. If you have a gas car that you just bought, you're going to have to sell it because you need to get an electric car soon. And it's not good. Electric is worse than gas because it's going to kill you, not just the environment.
So not everything in there sounded bad. There were some good things in there. You know, they wanna have peace and everybody would be happy and have everything that you need and the environment will be clean. You have clean running water. You got a good job. Lots of stuff is being done by robots though, so that means that this useless human has to be not there, which means the population must be smaller. Now, granted, he didn't cover everything in Agenda 2030, and I'm still working on covering some things here and there. Got to spread them out over time. I can't give it all to you at once. Got to give you little bits here and there, right? But like I said, it doesn't all sound bad. It doesn't sound very good either, because your basic livelihood, everything that you work for is gone. You're like just a drone. Everybody has a job. Everybody gets the same thing. Everybody is boring. But maybe that's what they want life to be. Everybody is like this, which would suck. On that note, I'm calling it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.